Good morning, everyone. This is Brenda from Stamplicity, and welcome to Fun Friday. I apologize, I was a few minutes late. I was only going to do one card this morning, and then I decided to do two, so I was getting all the prep work done, so I'm a little late, but thanks for your patience. All right, so we are going to play around with Sharon's scissors today. All right, as promised, because we're doing our fundraising for the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Canada, our kickoff to World Fussy Cutting Day. I did promise that I would do some lives with the Sharon scissors. So backtracking, if in case you don't. If you don't know the story behind these scissors, Sharon, who was the owner of Buffalo Stamps and stuff, passed away suddenly at the beginning of January, and from a heart attack. And so Sharon was a friend of mine, and is dearly missed. But we really wanted to kind of showcase her and honor her because she had a major part in our industry, and I don't think she realized the part that she played in our industry. She's had her store for over 30 years. And she's helped a lot of us out. And just was a joy to work with and to be around with. And so this was a die that I collaborated with Spellbinders to honor Sharon. And we are going to do a couple of cards today with it. And then hopefully we will get another couple of cards with it again for next Fun Friday. All right. So this is Sharon's scissors, and you are going to get the die cut that will create these lovely little pair of scissors. I love that the Spellbinders put the little heart as the openings on the scissors. You're also going to get your Always in My Heart as a little sentiment banners. All right. So we're going to create a couple of cards with this. Now I'm going to mix and match this with other products. All right. And I'll talk about that as we go through. So let's get started. All right, so I've done a lot of the prep work already. I am going to do a little bit of better pressing on these cards, well, on the first card anyways. And I am using a part of, now where are these dies? Because I was going to show them. And I forget the collection of this one, but it was this. I'm using push pin notes. I'm going to be using torn paper edges. I just thought this was kind of a great way to coordinate with the scissors. I'm also using, I don't know the name of this one because I have a prototype of it. So I'm going to call, let me see if I have the name of it here. The journal grid. Better press plate. So we're going to do that. And the other one is the note paper press plate had a dear friend in there. All right. So again, I don't have the packaging, but I don't even know whether my note paper is right now. I took it off and I'm not sure what I did with it. But the note paper better press. Oh my goodness, it's stuck on here. Okay. The note paper better press plate would create it would create the look of a lined piece of paper, but it had these great little sentiments that you can put on there. One of them was dear friend, so that's what I'm going to use on this one this morning. All right, so dear friend. So I have it lined up kind of in my corner of my better press, and then I die cut one of these push pin notes, these little post-it notes, and I'm going to do that. I did that in white. And I'm going to press the dear friend kind of in the top left-hand corner here. All right, so we're going to start with that. So I have everything die cut. I have my dear friend in position, and then I'm just going to go ahead and stick my little post-it note that's been die cut in that corner there. And I'm going to go ahead and press that. All right, so I'm going to press that in. I chose malachite. This is one of the Dina Walkley colors. So I'm just going to go ahead and press that one. Oh, I moved my sentiment there. We'll get that lined up. Even if it's crooked, I'm okay with that. All right, so there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and press this through. So I'm not using better press paper. I am just using regular white cardstock. I'm not too worried that this is not going to be pressed in as well as it should. the main focus on this is the elements that we're putting on, which is kind of the scissors. So I'm just using regular white cardstock. All right. So there's that. It is pressed in quite nicely, actually. It worked really well. This is 110-pound Nina paper, so that worked out nicely. So I'm going to take that off, put that aside. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my grid background. And this is going to be the background of my card, all right? I love this background. I think it's a great background, just to create a little interest in the background. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, line that up, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my white paper. Again, this is not better press paper. This is just regular white cardstock, my 110 Nina white. All right, so I'm just going to line that in the corner guides. And I'm going to do the same color malachite on this one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ink this. The last time I used this, I had black ink on there, it looks like, and it looks like I didn't do a very good cleaning. So this might come out a little bit darker, and that's okay. All right, so I'm going to go over this a few times just to make sure that I have it, because it's really hard to see this malachite over the stained black on my Better Press plate, and that's on me because I did not clean it after I used it last. Typical Brenda. All right, so when I'm doing always inking for Better Press, I always say if you are doubting whether or not you got the whole plate, just go over it again. All right, that is my rule of thumb. So I'm going to go over it. All right, so that should be good. And let's go ahead and stick this on, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, and then we're done with the Better Press. All right, then we'll start putting this card together next. So good morning to everyone that is watching. I see lots of eyes are on us. All right, so isn't that a cool background? I love it. All right, so just a fun grid background that's stamped beautifully, right? So let's take this off. And all right, so now we have our Better Press elements, and now let's put this card together. Okay, so let's start with some of the components I have. I've already taken the liberty to die cut everything, and I'll explain everything as I go. All right, so the Post-it note has this kind of little layer here because the end of the paper is curling up, and I just did that in white just to give it, I wanted to give it that little bit of texture, but I didn't want to bring in another color, so I'm just doing white on white for this one. And that die cut actually has a little indentation on the main piece, so you can line that up really nicely. So now we've got that kind of dimensional Post-it note now with the dear friend on there. Okay, before I put my, well, no, I'll put my scissors together. All right, so I die cut the scissors. All right, the scissors and my die cuts are here. The scissors will have kind of two pieces to make. All right, you're going to have the handle. All right, and that's where the hearts come from as well. They'll pop out so you can use them as elements. And then you have the blades. All right, so I cut the blades out of just a dark gray cardstock. You could definitely do that out of silver. And then I did the handles in a dark teal. All right, so on each of the blades, at the end of them, there will be kind of a little score line on there. And that is, you're just going to line up the handles onto that. All right, so I want to make sure I have this correct. So this one is going to be this side. So I'm just going to put a spot of glue just below that little line. And then I'm going to take my little handle and just line it up. I don't have the proper lighting here. Getting lots of shadows. There we go. All right, so spot of glue on that one, and we'll do the same thing on the other one. So you got to kind of figure out how the blades go and put your, because there's definitely a right and a left handle. The little nubs that are on here will go to the inside of there. So just got to figure out your right and left blades. And I just do that by kind of, well, first I look at the picture and then they will go together like that. So always dry fit. All right. So we're going to put these two together. So the easiest way to put them together once you have the handles on is you have this kind of wider part on the blade. Now I'm going to take the one that does not have the heart debossed in it. All right. So there's one that's got a heart debossed. That's going to be your right hand blade. The one that does not is going to be your left hand blade. All right. So I'm going to take my left hand blade here and I'm going to put just a spot of glue kind of in that wide spot of the blade. And then I'm going to have these as open scissors. You can have them as closed scissors. If you're going to have them as closed scissors, you're just going to line up the two blades and they will match up and that will be your closed scissors. But I want these open. So I'm just going to kind of match up those wide spots there and just stick them together. And now we have our little open scissors and they're the cutest little things. I love them. All right, then that little debossed heart there, when you cut your handles out, you will get a little heart. All right, so I'm going to actually do that in this light teal. I cut it out in a different color. So I'm just going to put a spot of glue there and then I'm going to put my light teal little heart there. All right, so that will fit right over top. I'm just going to adjust that just ever so slightly. All right, give that a little push. And there are our scissors. Look how cute they are. Love them. All right, super, super cute. All right. Now let's put the rest of this lovely card together with the other elements I have here. So first of all, I'm going to trim this down. All right, so I'm going to trim this down to a smaller mat so that we can put it on a card front. This right now is an A2, so I want to trim it down because we want to put it on a colorful mat. So I'm going to leave a little bit. Of course, I did not get this absolutely straight, so we're going to eyeball this a little bit. Let's see if I did it okay on that first one. Yes, okay. So I'm going to leave just a little bit of white edge on there. All right. I am just totally eyeballing this. And I just need to, I think I did okay. This one might need a little trimming on this side. All right. So I've trimmed that down. I've left a nice little white edge on there. All right, and then I have a couple of mats. I'm just going to go ahead and mat this. I'm going to have to trim that white panel just a little bit more. Sliver off of all the sides. So much for my little white edge on them. All right, one more. It's not going to be absolutely perfect, but people will not pay attention to the little, hopefully they will not pay attention to my spacing on there. All right, so that should be better. All right, so I'm going to attach this to a light teal mat and then to my dark teal. All right, so that will get my card front ready. All right, and then this one here will go on the dark teal, and then we can put that onto our card base. All right, I'm not going to worry about the card base at this point. All right, so there is our background. All right. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and grab our little post-it note. And we're going to place this on here and I'm going to pop this up. So I'm going to grab some foam adhesives and stick them on. And let's put this at a bit of an angle near the top because we want to leave room for the scissors at the bottom. All right, so there is that. All right, now I'm going to grab the scissors and we are going to go ahead and attach these kind of on the bottom here. All right, so we are going to have to put some foam adhesives and I'm going to put them under behind kind of the wider spots on the handles. So the little ones, little square ones will fit nicely on there. And then the blades themselves, because they're going to overlap my little post-it note, we can put glue on those or adhesive. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, put them at an angle, something, except I didn't take the backings off my foam adhesives. Nothing's going to stick that way. All right, let's try that again. All right, so we've got our scissors on. All right, it's coming all together here. I'm going to go ahead and put my "You're Always in My Heart" little sentiments on here, and then we'll do the little decorating. All right, so I trimmed them just in the light teal. And these ones here are a little finicky. I'm not going to lie. When I prefer when they don't, sometimes the little pieces will fall out of the letters. I prefer when they don't. I You have to really go back and forth in your machine to get these pieces to cut because they're so thin. So of course mine did half and half. So I'm going to see what I can do, just kind of pushing these out. But if you want to have them pushed out, you really have to go back and forth. It depends on the pressure of your machine. I've had ones that don't punch out and I like the look better. I'm not going to finish. Not going to worry too much about them, but I'm going to pop these up anyway. So I'm going to put some foam adhesive behind here. And so I'm going to put this, and I'm not too concerned that these are straight. All right. I think having things at angles sometimes is a good thing. All right, and let's put our second one. All right, so there is that. And then I have a couple of little elements in here. I love this push pin that is in the little push pin notes. It is the cutest little thing. So I just die cut it and I chose another color. I chose lime green for a little pop of color. So the base is this little circular piece. I cut that out of gray. Then you're going to have your actual push pin piece. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that. And I'll hold this up closer to the camera once I have this on. All right, so there is that. It's like a little angled push pin. It's really cute. But then there's the little shadowing pieces on there, the little overlay. So one goes on the very top, and you could do a two-tone look. I chose just to do the same colors, just to create that dimension. But it really, it is honestly, it looks so good when it's done. I'll hold this up in the camera once I get this little piece in there. So it really creates that dimensional look. Look how sweet that is. Love it. All right, and that push pin is going to go up on our little post-it note right about here. And I think I'm just going to glue that down flat. And I'm just going to kind of glue the base of it because we're going to have it kind of hanging off the paper a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to put that there. All right, and then let's put some hearts. I just cut some extra hearts. So of course we want to bring in that lime green again. So I think I'm going to do well, maybe I'll do the light teal I don't have because I used, all right, maybe I'll do a big one and a small one of the hearts. Although I feel I should have a third heart there, so I guess it's gonna have to be the little lime green one because I don't have much space. Yeah, okay. All right, so there we go. I might add a few little gems to this one to finish it, but there is one little sweet little card with the scissors on there. All right, and that's just a great card where it says, "Dear friend, you're always in my heart." You know, that could be used as just being as, thank you for being my friend. Thank you for always being there. Thinking of you, get well, love. Get well wishes and such. So there is that. All right. So super, super fun, right? Love it. So there is card number one. All right, let's move on. All right. I'll post pictures of these after the fact so that you can see them a little bit closer. All right, so let's move on to the next one. All right, this one here, we're going to change up the color scheme. We got green and orange. And I used pattern paper that was just sitting on my floor. It was probably leftovers from one of my classes. But we do have these papers in stock. All right, all right, so let's get started with this one. No better press in this one, but we are adding a few extra elements. All right, so I've got a piece of paper here that I've used kind of the tattered edge here. And like I said, that is from the Torn Paper Edges die. All right, love this die because you get that torn paper edge and it's quite the long die. All right, so you can do it on longer pieces. And then you get that double ripped die as well, which is kind of cool. All right, so we're going to combine that. And then I've also used this die cut, which is Vivid Blooms. We're going to bring some florals in here. So I've used that die. And then I think I'm going to use these Vivid Script Sentiments as well, but we'll see. I haven't die cut that yet. We'll see how much room I have. All right, so I have my card front, and I just did white. And then I trimmed two pieces of pattern paper. I love mixing patterns together. So we've got this one here. And just in case you want to know what this is, it is on our website. This is called From Echo Park. The orange one is called Little Things Means a Lot. And this is the journaling cards. All right. So if I put that, oops, that's upside down. Sorry. That is the orange that I'm using. All right. And then the green is also from Echo Park. And it has something about carrots. I cut off the logo strip. It's called Bunnies in Baskets, but it's something carrots. But I've used the back side of it. I love that little green archway. All right. Okay, so I have these two pieces and I'm going to go ahead and mount them. So this green piece, the top piece, you can use any pattern paper, is 4¼ by 3. 4¼ by 3. And then, no, maybe it's 3¼ Nope, it's yeah, 4¼ by 3, and then this one is 4¼ by 3½. All right. So when we mount these together, we're going to have that 1/4 inch on the top and bottom of that orange pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere them together. All right. So we're just going to center them. All right, so there is that. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach this panel, and I'm going to drop it down so that there's only about 1 inch from the bottom here. All right, and this is all going to go down flat. And I think I'm going to round the corners. Oops, got a cat hair in there. All right, and I think I'm going to round the corners on the bottom. If I can find my corner rounder. Okay, I think that looks straight. All right, let's see if I can find my corner rounder. Okay, I have my notch punch. I had my corner rounder just the other day and I put it somewhere special. Aha! I found it. Okay, we're going to use our corner rounder punch. So I'm going to just round the bottom corners here. I always think sometimes with the corner rounder, it's always nice to do something a little bit different on the bottom edge. So corner rounder is a great tool to have. All right, so we have that. And then I have my little white piece here that I, again, die cut that little tattered edge, and we're going to pop this one up. And you know what? I think I'm going to round the corners on the bottom of this one too. Because why not? Spent all that time looking for it, I might as well use it more. All right, so there we go. We have that. It'd be cute if I did the better pressed lines on here, but I'm not quite sure what I did with my plate. Not the grid, but I want to do the lines. All right. I don't see it here. I did have it in my hands this morning, but goodness knows what I did with it. Oh, that's too bad. All right, not here. So we're just going to move on. Okay, we're just not going to do that then. Okay, we'll just pop this up. I'll probably find it right after I put this down, but that's okay. All right. I'm going to offset this a little bit to the left-hand side and something like so. All right. So that's kind of my base now. Now let's kind of put our scissors together. So this one I did with orange handles. And let's get the blades. The blades, again, I just cut out a dark gray. And I would have used my silver, but I was rushing around this morning and could not find my silver paper. So I think the silver would look awesome. It's just going to bring another little kind of texture in. All right. So remember, the right hand blade has that debossed heart on there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my little blades or my hand, oops, glue my handles on my blades. I was doing it backwards there. All right, so there is that. And we're going to have these as open scissors again. I like them when they're open. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the wide spot of the left hand blade. Then I'm going to take my right hand blade and kind of match those two up and give it a little pressure. And there are our scissors, super cute. All right, and this one here, I'm going to put a little heart there, and I cut it out of coral. I wanted to add another color in here. So we'll just fit that in there. All right, so there are our little scissors. Cute. All right, so we're gonna have those. And then I'm gonna build my florals. So I just took some of the Vivid Blooms. I took the large one and then I cut some smaller ones. All right, so we have yellow, we have coral, and then I have a big set of leaves in the lime green. And then I have little leaves as well. Now for the floral centers, I thought it would be cute to use the little hearts as floral centers. So for the little flowers, we have the little hearts. So I did them in orange. I thought those would be cute little floral centers. And I'm going to do the same thing for the larger one as well. All right, how cute are those with the little hearts on there? Super sweet. All right, and then I'm afraid this is not going to be big enough, but we're going to make it work. We're just going to do it. And I think I'm going to pop it up. Should be a little bit bigger, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to die cut. I'm going to die cut this and then put that the large heart in there, and I think that will be better. All right. So, I'm going to die cut this out of I will do orange. So give me 1 second and we will die cut that out real quick. I just want to make sure that that heart is proportioned nicely with our big, I'm being finicky, I'm being picky. I love the dies or floral dies from Spellbinders because you get so much in those packs and you can mix and match, which I love to create different looks of florals. So I just took kind of a smaller floral. We're going to use that as the inside. I know this flower does have an inside, but we wanted to have this a little bit bigger than that heart. All right, now I can put my little, and I'm going to pop this one up. Yeah, that's much, much better. There we go. All right, so there is my flower. Okay, so we're going to put this all together now. I'm going to have my kind of scissors. They might be going down like this. And now let's create our floral cluster. I'm going to dry fit everything first. Actually, maybe I'll move my scissors kind of down here. That'll give me room for a sentiment, which I had the hello, and then I think that will work. All right, so let's just go ahead and tack down my scissors. So we're going to put them down there. I think if we would have had the lined paper behind it, would have been really cool. We do have lined pattern paper available online as well. So if you don't have that Better Press plate, we do have lined paper, which is really cool. It looks just like lined paper, but it's a 12 by 12. So, all right, so let's just slightly put those at an angle. Oopsie. I think I have to move that over just a little bit because it was hitting. Here we go. It was hitting. All right. I might have to put a little bit of glue underneath those blades at the tips because they're curling up. All right, they're down now. Okay, so let's kind of build. We want to keep for our sentiment here. So I'm going to build up my floral kind of on the left top area here. So I'm going to pop up my large floral and we're going to just slightly have it overhanging that little note paper that we put on there. Then I'm going to do my leaves. Now, the stem is way too big on here, so I'm just going to trim that off. And then I'm just going to put some glue at the bottom edges of those leaves and the stem. And let's just stick that like so. All right, I think I should probably do my sentiment next to get that on there before I put my filler flowers on there. So I just grabbed the word hello from the Vivid Sentiments. I don't know if I'm going to use a shadow. I think I'm just going to go with a little hello. And I think I'm going to go with orange on that again. All right, so Let me get my die cut machine. Find my orange paper and let's die cut to that. I love these little sentiments from the Vivid Sentiments. They are dainty, but they have the shadow with them. And I'll bring it out so you can kind of see all the sentiments on there. It's just a good set. And I love the script to them. The only thing that maybe you may not like about them is how dainty they are. So you got to put little fine lines of glue on them, but they die cut beautifully. That popped out. That makes me happy. All right. So let's just go ahead and pull this up very carefully. All right, let's glue this on. Now I could have used a shadow, but actually this might have been looked really good in black as well on here. But I made the commitment to orange. All right, so we're gonna put that hello. I'm gonna angle it just a little bit. All right, I should have angled my scissors a little bit better, but that's okay. All right, we've got the hello on there. And now we can grab our little florals. And I'm going to use foam adhesive and we're going to pop these up. And I call these the fillers. So where I have a space and I need something there, that's where a flower is going to go. So when I put them down, I'm going to just make sure the hearts are going the right way. And then I also cut out some extra little leaves too if I needed more filler. So, and that's all from the same set. All right, so I think one needs to go here. Let's put that one down here. I'm going to move this one just out a little bit. All right, and let's add some leaves. Now, when I put the leaves on there, I just put a little spot of glue at the ends and then I tuck them, all right? So there's one. And the leaves I did a little bit darker than the other leaf. I have one extra leaf here, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to put it down with this singular little floral down here. We will tuck that in so it has a double leaf. All right. And then I have couple extra hearts, but do I want to use? I'm going to use that one right there. And then that one would be done. All right. I'm going to trim my little pop dot. It kind of went off the edge here. Instead of trying to pull it off, I'll just trim it. All right, so let's put a little heart there. And I might add a few gems on this, but how cute is that? All right, so there are two fabulous cards, if I do say so myself, using the Sharon scissors and a couple of complimentary products from Spellbinders, but super fun, right? All right, so that's that scissor. I just love the sizing of that scissor. Really sweet. All right, so there we go, everyone. There are our Sharon scissors, our first batch of inspiration to use them. If you don't have Sharon scissors, we still do have them available, and we can still get them. All right. So I know every time we bring them in, they sell out just as quick as we bring them in. But definitely, we always have more on order. All right, everyone. So that is it for me for Fun Friday. Thanks for joining me. And we'll have another set of inspiration using Sharon's scissors for next week. Until then, everyone, have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.